Good day, shenanigators. So I ain't got a whole lot going on today that's overly exciting, but I am gonna redo my porch. So here's what happened. I wanted a lighter paint color. We painted this probably about 4 years ago, just to give it a fresh look when we first moved in, and it's still a little too dark, but I do enjoy the gray color, so we're just gonna go with a lighter color. So I've got the walls patched, from nails and screws and coat hooks and such. And that's going to dry. When it dries, I'm going to sand it. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to repaint and all will be well with the porch. No, not for me. See, what happened was 10 years ago, when my mother-in-law owned the house, I decided to rip up her porch, totally gut it, and give her a fresh new look. Now, I was using all recycled materials. And here is the problem I'm running into years later. Let me turn you around. Okay, so when I laid this flooring, as you can see, it's like you gotta step up to get up to the second half of the porch. And that is because there used to be, let me just scan this out here. There used to be a boot box or wood box, whatever you wanted to call it. And it used to come up to the window, the edge of the window there. And it almost looked like a counter, but it had 3 sections and your boots went in one side and wood and kindling paper, yada, yada, yada. And there used to be, in this whole corner where that coat rack is, from the ceiling down to the bottom of the window was all cupboards, built-in cupboards. And it just didn't work for my mother-in-law at the time. And so we gutted it and we got rid of it and opened up the porch. Now, since, like I was saying, I used all recycled materials when I did this, I did not have enough product for flooring to go, I don't think I can get in there, to go all the ways back under the radiator. So now the radiator is no longer working for us because we have switched from oil to wood heat. So this is one of the last radiators left in the house to come out. And I had forgot. So as I started tearing this apart, I realized there is no flooring under there. And it's about a 4-inch gap. So that's going to pose an issue. My quick little paint project and removal of radiator has turned into, we are gutting the porch again. So I have already picked out the flooring. I've already took the measurements of my floor. It's a 6x8 porch. So I'm going to go get the flooring, and I plan to use recycled materials again for my trim and baseboards, because these ones they're not going to make it another go around. And I've got everything else outside of that. The paint's already picked up, and we've got everything here that we need outside of the flooring. So I'm going to go get that. And then when I come back, we are going to start gutting this apart even more. And I'll show you bit by bit as I go. And then in the end, you'll see the final product of a freshly new painted porch. So sometimes that's how it goes. Small projects turn into big projects. And this is just a 6x8 room, so we're not going to worry about it. It's big, but it's not that big. It's not a break your pocket kind of project. At least not yet. Another thing that I want to do is get this window open and functioning again. In the summer, it makes the world of difference. There's 2 windows in here plus a door window. And this one here, when we moved in and we painted, I got a little heavy on the paint. It just painted shut the window. And I just kind of was like, you know what? Another time. No big deal. Whatever. I got 2 more windows. Well, it's time to get my lazy carcass going with it. Since I've already got the porch empty, let's get the window functioning. Spring is just around the corner, so it'll be great. Okay, So I'm headed out to the hardware store and I will see you when I get back. Okay, so I'm back from the hardware store. I quick changed, threw my hair up, and I want to show you the flooring. This is the flooring that we went with, in case you need the info. And this is, I peeled it back so you could see. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's going to go in there. It's not a big change, but we went with a wider plank, a little bit of a lighter color, something that's got a little bit more knots in it. I was already removed the radiator, and now it's time for cleanup. So this flooring here that I'm standing on does have to come up, but the battery in the drill died and every other one was screwed down just to kind of hold it in place a bit better. So we're waiting on the drill to charge, and in the meantime, I'm gonna get the vacuum cleaner, clean this hot mess up, and then we will get the underlay laid down on this one section that's ready to go. So I have all the puttying done as far up as where the new trim boards are going to go, and it's pink now and it'll dry white, so that way I know when it's dry. I would have normally have used a drywall compound that was a little bit like a drywall plaster of sorts, but what was tore off was mostly paint, and we can just skim that with a little bit of hole filler. So that's done. I have laid some underlay and taped it down because this previous floor can't come up on this end, just the way that it was framed in. So it'll make the new floor weak if we take it off. So we have just taped it down because a staple gun will not work. This is hardwood flooring, so the staple guns aren't going down through it. So we just taped it in place. It's not a high traffic area, so I'm not super concerned about it. We have the drill, obviously, still missing its battery pack, so we couldn't take the screws up yet. Now it's just a waiting game. Gotta wait for the plaster to dry, gotta wait for the drill to charge, and then it'll be time to tear up this floor here on this section where I'm standing. This is the view from my porch to my kitchen right now. It's a freaking disaster. But, you know, when you unload the porch into a whole other room, this is what happens. And, you know, we're past supper time, so nobody really needs the kitchen at this moment. So I can just kind of keep chucking everything in here. And so that's where we're at with that. The drill is charged, but the screws that are in the floor along the door, they're stripped from just like water and salt and stuff throughout the years getting on it. So I've resulted in a crowbar. So here we go. Turns out to be a little less satisfying, but holy cow, the dirt that gets in between the boards. Good Lord. This is disgusting. Well, I'll see you back here when I get it ripped up. Porch Diaries. This is the Porch Diaries. So I struggled forever and ever to get the floor up, and then I called in reinforcements. I was like, Joe, you gotta come help me. Anyways, Joe got the floor up. I'm gonna show you. So the floor is up. We didn't get real fancy with the underlay. It's a porch. We started to lay down the flooring. Now, with the flooring, this was always, if you see over here, it was always just this and painted. And Joe came up with this brilliant idea. Let's check and see if one of the floorboards will fit there. It does, with no cuts necessary for width-wise. Works out perfect. To keep it attached, sorry, that's Joe cutting the boards. But to keep it attached on the top, we're cutting this board long enough that it actually interlocks with this. So it's going to hold it there. Plus I have a steel kick pipe that's going to go on, kick plate that goes on here after the floors are laid. And then plus we're using quarter round along the edge, so that'll keep the bottom in too. And the floorboards, the way that they're going in, they're actually interlocking in underneath this lip too. So it's going to be super snug when it's done. It's come on nighttime. I think it's going for 8 o'clock. And I needed help. I wasn't getting anywhere. Now typically I would have sanded where I had put the plaster in before I'd put the new floors in. But since it's still not dry, because it's a porch and it doesn't get much heat, it's still not dry, and we could be ahead of the situation. I can just drop a drop cloth down tomorrow, sand it, bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Thank God for Joe. My one-day porch Reno has turned into a disaster. So, but I'm getting some help, so it's, you know, it's going faster than it would if I was to continue going. I'm getting mentally tired. Porch diaries. So, I resulted to needing more help from Joe than what I wanted to admit. But we're getting it. Been laying the floor, and it's been taking a little bit of weaving and wooving to get it into where we want it, so we've got smooth lines and we don't have to run as much trim as we had before. It's going for 11 o'clock. It's 10 to 11 at night, and we're just gonna let it be and give it a break and get back at it tomorrow. So this is what we have left of the floor. It's not much at all. So we'll pick that back up in the morning. But I don't know if I showed it to you in the beginning of the video, but there was a silver kick plate that went along here, and then there was a piece of quarter round that went along there, and we are hoping to just get away with the kick plate because we've been going along very smoothly, and the flooring is going in underneath and locking to this piece, and then the upper pieces are locking in on top of that. So if things keep going the way that they're going, it'll look beautiful. We won't even need that piece of quarter round. I am going to say goodnight, and I will see you in the morning. Bye. It's afternoon. Had a few things to do this morning before we could get back into the porch. So Joe has already been in here measuring and cutting up flooring for the last little bit that goes in here. And there's some down here that needs to be put back in. And I'm going to get going with putting down some drop cloths and doing some sanding up here where the floor has already been laid. And yeah, we'll meet back up here shortly. We've got the floor in, and we have sanded the plaster. That's all primed, and I'll just show you an example of the new wall color. It's not a big difference, but you'll see. It's going to be a shade or two lighter. It's more on the bluish gray hues opposed to the darker gray. And you can see that the primer's on down there and ready for paint. We're cruising along. It's a beautiful day, so the temperature outside is plus temperatures, and then inside we have just a small fire going just to keep the dampness off so the paint dries. Okay, so the thresholds are in, the floor is down, carpet's laid, kick plate is on. There's our quarter round for tomorrow for that area there. We've got the trim painted, the walls are done, so you can see. We even cleaned the light shade. The door's been painted. All in behind has been done. So, we even got the switch plate put back on. And the threshold is done here. A little bit of work to do tomorrow, and then after that, the porch will be done. Be able to put everything back in here, and hopefully it'll look a whole lot brighter and better. It's the next day, and Joe and I have done all the work. So now the fun part is just showing you the end of it. This window is operational now. Beautiful. We got the moldings on, the quarter round along the bottom. Everything's been put back in. The door's been painted. All is well. So this is what the porch looks like. It's my porch makeover. I had a blast doing it. It turned out really nice. I'm really happy with how it looks. The lighter paint color brightens it up as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to appreciate that paint choice in 3 or 4 months from now when we're all kicking in, you know, muddy boots and all that stuff. But the white trim looks a whole lot nicer than the cream color trim that was on there. And yeah, Danika's got a new coat hook for her book bag. All is well. All right, guys, that's the end of it. See ya.